I'm speaking with the Honorable Dionisio de Aguilar. The minister is the Minister of Tourism for the islands of the Bahamas.
Correct.
And is also the chairman of the Caribbean Tourism Organization.
Absolutely correct, yes, sir.
Right.
The Bahamas is off to a smashing start in 2018. Our airlift arrivals into the islands have rebounded or have grown 18% in the first 3 months of 2018. So one must ask why. And what is significant about the tourism product in the Bahamas is the coming online, finally, of the Bahama property. So the Bahama property encompasses 3 different hotels, an 1,800-room Grand Hyatt, 300-room SLS, and a 230-plus room Rosewood. It also has a 100,000 square foot casino, the largest casino in the Caribbean, and significant convention space as well. And what that has done in the Bahamas, this new property coming on stream, has caused many of their competitors to say, hey, we need to upgrade, we need to refresh, we need to renovate. So, for example, the Atlantis property, which is world famous and well known, they've tower by tower undertaken to renovate their hotel. A lot of other hotels have undergone a renovation and a refresh. So the tourism product in the Bahamas, and specifically Nassau, has undergone a significant renovation, refresh, rebound, and all of that is translating into the very robust numbers we're having for the first quarter of 2018. But remember now, the Bahamas is 2 types of destinations. You have Nassau and Freeport, our major population centers, but we're a nation of islands. And so we've got our family of islands. We're actually 16 different destinations in the Bahamas. And so you've got Eleuthera, Exuma, Abaco, our 3 major family island destinations that have experienced 30+% growth. So that part of the Bahamian tourism product is the low density, experiential, intimate part of our tourism product. You go to the family of islands, everybody knows everybody. It's just very intimate, extremely charming, lots of fishing, wonderful beaches, snorkeling, lots of chill. And that component of our tourism product is extremely resilient, and it keeps growing, and we expect it to have another record year after 2 preceding record years in terms of foreign visitor arrivals.
How about Grand Bahama? You didn't mention Freeport. I know there was some damage by the hurricane, if I'm not mistaken.
Freeport was damaged, and the major tourism or the major hotel property there was damaged and not reopened.
That's Alakaya?
Yes, and the government is working feverishly and is very close to securing a new purchaser who will invest and refresh. So that's a work in progress. The deal isn't sealed yet. So that's the Alakaya project. At the very end of Grand Bahama is West End, and that was a project that was started under a gentleman by the name of Ginn, and it was a victim of the 2008 recession. But that's now been purchased, and is now investment is going into that, and that is going to start to come back on stream. So we're very excited about that.
Share with me, what impact is Bahar Mar bringing to the economy of the Bahamas now that Bahar Mar is on stream? As you well know, whenever there's a property like that, you mentioned the 3 hotels I think are part of Bahar Mar, employment, the new constructions, the restaurants, everything that happens around that project. What impact do you see that having in terms of your numbers for the economy of the Bahamas?
So in direct jobs, between 5,000 and 6,000, which for a workforce of 180,000 is a significant number. So we're going to have that significant GDP effect to our tourist arrival numbers. The most important component, of course, is the stopover visitor. They spend 20 times more than a cruise passenger. So if that hotel runs simply 50%, that'll add 250 to 300,000 additional foreign visitors to the country, and all of the corresponding spend that those visitors have. So we believe 10 to 11% effect, positive effect on GDP.
You talked about the stayovers.
Yeah.
What about your cruise sector?
Our cruise sector in the first quarter of this year was flat, but the Bahamas remains, if not the greatest, very close to the top in terms of cruise passenger arrivals. We're blessed with geography. We're very close to the largest cruise ports in the world, Miami and Fort Lauderdale. If you want to go on a 3-day cruise, it usually involves the Bahamas. Many moons ago, we made the strategic move to sell or to lease islands, uninhabited islands of the Bahamas to the cruise companies. They have taken those islands and transformed them. And so therefore, the Bahamas is always on their itinerary. Naturally, we'd like the cruise companies to go to our major population centers because that's where they have the greatest GDP effect. But the islands are the hook. The islands are what causes them to come to the Bahamas and want to then travel onward to our major population centers.
Okay, let's speak a little more now about yourself. Becoming chairman of the Caribbean Tourism Organization, what goals did you set for yourself, and where are you in terms of accomplishing those goals?
So sadly, it's a 2-year appointment, and the first year was held by my predecessor. I was elected kind of midstream of the Bahamas holding the chair. So I have come into this job with, I think, the goal of every tourism minister, which is to grow arrivals into the destination. Sadly, 3-4 months into my term, we were hit by the 2 most devastating hurricanes probably in the history of the Caribbean. And so whatever goals we had to begin with, the goal changed to getting, assisting, helping, facilitating those destinations that were most devastated to get back on stream. And also to educate the traveling public on the geography of the Caribbean. When they heard about those storms, everybody believed the entire Caribbean was wiped out. But it was really only 30%. And I always like to draw this analogy. Bahamas, Barbados, Bermuda, Barbuda, it all gets slightly confusing to the traveling public, and it behooves us as a destination to get the message out of exactly what lays where, and to let the traveling public know, hey, 70% of us emerged unscathed. So don't lump us all into this devastated category. And we're very thankful for the media for helping us to get the message out. But initially, as the storm is blowing through, what sells is the fact that the entire region is devastated. And then we, as a group of nations, have to come back and inform the public that is not the case. So we've decided to come out with a marketing campaign that brands the Caribbean and to let the population know about the Caribbean. It's not a country-specific marketing campaign, but about the region. And so when people think that they want to travel, I want to go to the Caribbean, that starts the thought process. And then they begin to delve deeper into, well, where specifically do I want to go into the Caribbean? So the rhythm never stops. That's every country has a certain rhythm, and it never stops. And we feel that slogan, that tagline, is really what embodies and encompasses the Caribbean. Every one of us has an incredible soul, an incredible vibrancy, and we wanted to get that message out that the Caribbean is open, ready for business, and rebounding.
Yeah. Regional travel has been an issue for, it seems like, forever.
And still is.
Inter-Caribbean travel. LIAT, as we know, has had its challenges. What are your thoughts in terms of I don't want to say solving that problem, it's a very tough problem to solve, the steps that need to be taken, at least to get us to a point where we shouldn't have to leave not Barbados,
leave the Caribbean to go from one Caribbean nation to another.
Exactly.
Because most flights are directed through Miami, and then you got to go. So if you want to go to if you want to go to the Bahamas from Barbados, you got to go to Miami and then come down to Nassau.
Exactly.
That's a very vexing issue. I'm the minister responsible for Bahamas Air, and I know how difficult it is to run an airline and how challenging and financially significant the capital requirements are of running an aircraft. So I don't know the solution to that problem. It's obviously I want a private sector solution. It's very, very hard for the government to solve this problem. They can certainly provide support, but I don't think governments want to get into owning and running an airline. That is fraught with problems. And you'll notice that countries have actually exited that business. For example, Jamaica. So there's no more Air Jamaica. And they made that decision a long time ago. Very traumatic and very gut-wrenching, but they made it. And the private sector has filled that void. But yes, travel within the Caribbean. I mean, we're low population countries, and so it's hard to make it economically viable. And many people have tried and failed, and many countries have tried and failed. So it is a vexing problem and will remain a vexing problem. But we talk about it every day, and we're always exploring opportunities. I know the Cayman Islands and Cayman Airways have risen to the challenge, and they want to take this on. So more power to them, and hopefully they're successful.
I'm gonna put you on the spot now, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Where do you see the Caribbean 10 years from now?
10 years from now?
Yes, that's why I'm putting you on the spot.
Oh, well, I'll be 63. I'll be long retired. I think the Caribbean will always remain a major destination for travelers looking for a certain type of vacation. Our core market continues and probably will always remain the United States. And our advantage is our geography. We're very close. And one thing that is often not mentioned, we're very safe. We don't have the terrorism issues of other travel destinations. We don't have conflicts in our region. We're a safe, fun-loving, culturally diverse and interesting group of people, and so therefore I think we'll always remain interesting and people will always want to travel here. So I expect travel to continue to grow.